Once upon a time, there was a magnificent tower that rose high above the clouds. This tower was not just any ordinary tower, but a wizard's tower, where the most powerful and skilled wizards lived and practiced their magic. The tower was situated on a small island in the middle of a vast ocean, and the only way to reach it was by using a special spell to transport oneself there. The island was shrouded in a thick fog that made it almost impossible to navigate, except for those who knew the way. The tower was a sight to behold. Its walls were made of shimmering white stone that sparkled in the sunlight. The roof was pointed and topped with a large crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. The windows were tall and thin, and from them, you could see the most incredible views of the ocean and the sky. The inside of the tower was even more impressive. The entrance led to a massive hall with a high ceiling and a grand staircase that spiraled up to the top of the tower. The walls were covered in tapestries and paintings depicting great wizards and their feats of magic. There were also several rooms off the main hall, where the wizards lived and worked. At the top of the tower was the observatory, where the most powerful wizards studied the stars and the universe. Here, they could peer through a powerful telescope and see things that no ordinary person could ever dream of. They also had access to an enchanted library that contained books on every subject imaginable, including spells, potions, and magical creatures. The wizards who lived in the tower were a diverse group of individuals, each with their own unique talents and abilities. Some were experts in potions, while others were skilled in divination or transfiguration. They worked together to solve complex problems and to protect the wizarding world from harm. One day, a young wizard named Jacob arrived at the tower. He had heard stories of its beauty and power and wanted to study magic there. He approached the entrance and said the magic words that would allow him to enter. As he stepped inside, he was amazed by the grandeur of the hall. He looked up at the spiral staircase and took a deep breath. He knew that he had a long way to go before he could reach the top. Jacob spent the next few weeks studying and practicing his magic. He learned new spells and potions and spent hours poring over books in the library. He also spent time with the other wizards, learning from their experiences and sharing his own. One day, while he was walking through the halls of the tower, Jacob heard a strange noise coming from the observatory. He raced up the staircase and burst into the room, only to find that the telescope had stopped working. The wizards in the observatory were panicking, as the telescope was their most important tool. Without it, they would not be able to see the stars or study the universe. Jacob stepped forward and offered to help. He knew a spell that could fix the telescope, but it was a difficult one, and he had never tried it before. The other wizards were skeptical, but Jacob was determined to prove himself. He closed his eyes and focused his mind on the task at hand. He began to chant the spell, and as he did, he felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. Suddenly, the telescope began to glow with a bright light, and the wizards gasped in amazement. The telescope was working again, and they could see the stars as clear as day. The other wizards were impressed with Jacob's skill and asked him to stay at the tower to continue his studies. Jacob was overjoyed at the offer and eagerly accepted. Over time, Jacob became one of the most respected wizards in the tower. He learned to master powerful spells, and even discovered a new potion that could heal almost any injury. But despite his success, Jacob remained humble and always willing to help others. He spent his days studying and practicing magic, but also took time to teach younger wizards and offer guidance to those in need. One day, while he was exploring the tower, Jacob stumbled upon a hidden room that he had never seen before. Inside, he found an ancient book that was bound in worn leather and filled with strange symbols and drawings. As he began to read the book, Jacob realized that it contained a powerful spell that had been lost for centuries. The spell could create a portal to another world, a place where magic was even more powerful than in their own world. Jacob knew that the spell was dangerous, and that using it could have dire consequences. But he also knew that it was his duty to explore all aspects of magic and push the boundaries of what was possible. He spent weeks studying the book and practicing the spell, until he was confident that he could use it safely. He gathered the other wizards in the tower and showed them the spell, and they were all amazed by its power. Together, they decided to use the spell to explore the other world and learn more about its magic. They cast the spell and stepped through the portal, and were immediately transported to a world unlike any they had ever seen. The sky was a deep shade of purple, and the trees were twisted and gnarled. The air was thick with magic, and the wizards could feel the power coursing through their bodies. As they explored the world, they encountered strange creatures and battled powerful foes. They learned new spells and potions, and even discovered a powerful artifact that had been lost for centuries. But as they delved deeper into the otherworld, they began to realize that there was a dark force at work. A powerful sorcerer had taken control of the world and was using his magic to enslave the creatures and bend them to his will. The wizards knew that they had to stop the sorcerer and free the creatures from his grasp. They battled their way through his stronghold, using all of their magic to overcome his powerful spells and traps. In the end, they faced the sorcerer in a final showdown that would determine the fate of the other world. It was a fierce battle, with spells and curses flying in every direction. But in the end, it was Jacob who delivered the final blow. He summoned a powerful blast of magic that struck the sorcerer down, and the other wizards joined in to seal his power and ensure that he could never rise again. As they stepped back through the portal and returned to their own world, the wizards were exhausted but triumphant. They had explored a new world, learned new magic, and overcome a powerful foe. But for Jacob, the experience had taught him something even more valuable. He had learned that magic was not just a tool to be used for personal gain, but a responsibility to be wielded with care and respect. And so he returned to the tower, more determined than ever to use his magic for good, and to help others unlock their own potential and explore the wonders of the wizarding world.